Good morning, Rabbi Isaiah. We have a Gastenstadt, I see. Today, sponsored L'ilui Nishmas Reb Chaim Volozhin, the Miyasid of Yeshiva's Volozhin. Mazel Tov to Eli Shapiro, the famous Eli Shapiro. For shelaima for Daniela Shulami's bas Rachel Gilah, he has a Mazel Tov. He had a baby boy. So for shelaima nachas from all our kinderlach and the MDY brotherhood. Eli Shapiro, he is the guy that I use to go to the airport and back, the official driver. When we needed a mizbeach, I don't know if you remember, we didn't have this fancy mizbeach yet. I called him up. I asked him if he could. I said I want to pay him, and he got it all the way from Yerushalayim, brought it here, and Gary was up till 2 a.m. building the Mizbeach. I used them hundreds of times, literally, in the hundreds, because we had a business, a whole 100. So if anybody needs, you didn't tell me to say this, I'm saying, as a Karsatoy, if anybody needs a Hamish Yid to take care of something, to bring a suitcase, to pick somebody, a daughter up from the airport, Eli Shapiro. I don't have his phone number, you'll have to figure it out. Yosef Biliak will put it on the screen. Here's the phone number, but Eli, you owe me big time. I'm not repeating that. Anonymously, Refuah shelaima for Yehonoson Ben Saro was having a procedure today by Avi Mandelbaum, wishing good luck to all the students. But especially my students who are taking the AP chemistry exam this morning. May the Torah learned help you in your exam. By Yehoshua Ehrenpreis. Happy birthday to my dear wife, Esther Leah. May she always be healthy and strong until 120. The whole MDY team is wishing her a happy birthday, because without her, it would be very, very difficult to imagine what we would have today. We have the number one recruiter. Behind every great man stands a greater woman. And you have no idea how many times Yeshua is here till 1, 2 in the morning, being misader, driving, coming, schlepping, building the building, getting people. Number one recruiter, Yeshua. So we know what she goes through. So Yishkoyach Shver for allowing him to be here. Shalom Aleichem. Ira Gratsky. Shalom Aleichem, Rabbi Gratsky. From where? All right. I'm not going to call you up here and embarrass you. It's your birthday today? That's the main one. What are you in Hebrew birthday? Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov. He gave himself a birthday present. He came here. Beautiful. What do we have here? By the way, Moshe Hirsch sent me a very interesting thing. I don't know if anybody knows. Chanani is Gan Kohanim. He was a Gan Kohen. But he says here, I don't know where he got it from, that he was this Gan to many, many Kohanim in the period of time where Kohanim paid for the Kuna G'dayla. And they dropped dead, a lot of them, before they were able to go into Kodesh HaKodashim. So Chanani Zgana Kohanim was able to finish off the Avodah many times under many different Kohanim. He wasn't just a Zgan Kohen, he was a Kohen Gadol himself many times. That's what he said. I don't know where he got it from. Maybe I should read this again, but Shkoyach Moshe Hirsch. From Binyamin Samuel. Just quickly, I would like to add under my prayer, I love hearing the emails and get tremendous chizuk from them. And help me to continue daily. It is Hashgacha Pratis that you haven't read mine. Why? Firstly, I would like to send regards to Rabbi Hershey Leader. Another one. We're on a roll. We're on a roll. He used to learn with my father for years. Yeah? Where? Where did you learn with him for years? Used to teach also? Nice. 40 miles away from London. Where? Okay, so I don't know what these places are. Seed? Did you say seed? Seed, yes. He used to learn with my father for years. It was nice to see him today. Also, I do have one request. Please, can you repeat some of the relevant comments from the Olam during the shir? Beautiful. Listen, he said it. Can you repeat some of the relevant comments? When they're relevant, I repeat it. When they're shtusim, I just go, yeah, we'll talk about it later. So now you know. When I don't repeat it, I wasn't so excited about it. No. Of course not you. No, of course not you. But everybody could hear you. They could hear you. He hears you. No, it's not even a shayla. One conversation finished with you agreed with someone. I agreed with someone, but I couldn't help the question to start with, and I said I also didn't hear the answer was. This is a good time to blame Yosef. No, you don't have to blame Yosef. If you didn't hear the question, it's not. I agree. Just to keep on moving. Oh yeah, you know this guy. Yosef knows him. Thank you for a wonderful shir, and of course, have a wonderful day. B'Yom Samuel. Yishkoyach. All right. Today, Rabbi Isai, I am giving you out right now $100. If somebody could come up, Noam Fix came up yesterday, that Mem Gimel is Gam. What is Daf Mem Daled? It's an amazing simon for today. Amazing. Dam, mad. Much better. Much better. MDY! Merkaz Daf Yoma. It's unbelievable. Where's the money? Also, I gotta say this. Yesterday, because I was so excited about the unbelievable score, 100 on the Dirshu test. It's unheard of. It's really unheard of. So I gave the guy 1,000 shekel extra. Somebody called me up, Eli Dykman, immediately after Shir said, I'm also giving 1,000 shekel. So, Baruch Hashem, we have a lot of and I'm very, very proud of these guys. We wanted to establish a kollel that's not just learning, but people that take responsibility for the learning, and they learn at home. They learn on Fridays. I mean, so anybody can take a test of 450 daf. That wasn't a 450 daf test. That was the 30 daf test. But to do so well, it's unbelievable. All right, we take a lot of pride in these guys, and they should continue. And we have one here where Baruch Hashem, Leiby also takes the test. So, Alei v'atzlach. Zok the Gemara. We were just discussing that the Kohen Gadol does Kabbalah Saddam, he gives the blood over to another Kohen so he can continue mixing. Where does he stand? On a Reiva Revi, on the fourth row. We cheated a little bit. We said the Maskana Gemara, but the Gemara goes through it. How could it says, if you look at the words in the Mishnah, it says, Reiva Revi Shebaheichal. He goes inside the Heichal. Where's the Heichal? Right over here. He's over here, in here. The guy doing the blood is inside the Heichal. What's going on here? It doesn't make any sense. Ayim Kippur. No one could be there with the Kohen Gadol. And that's today's sugi basically. Where could you be? Where you can't be. But certainly not in the Heichal when they're performing an Avodah. Omar Rav Yehuda Tenei Shel Heichal. We're not going to switch the word. We're going to explain the word. Heichal doesn't mean in the Heichal. It means from the Heichal. 4 rows from the entrance of the Heichal, 4 rows down, and therefore you come up with this picture that we had yesterday between the red lines. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the entrance to the Heichal, the Ulam Heichal, and it goes. So he's standing right over here, 4 rows away from the Heichal. Says the Gemara, Torah Rabban. V'chol adam lo yeh ba'oil moed. So we're going through this pasuk, word by word, and every single word is another drasha, simple drashas. Today is a little bit of a drasha thing. Chol adam lo yeh ba'oil moed. B'voy lechaber b'kodesh, when he comes to the kodesh, at seiseh. Nobody can be with him. Here, that's what we're just discussing. Cannot be with the Kohen Gadol at seiseh until he leaves. V'chiper ba'adoi, uvad beisoi, uvad kol kahal Yisrael. 3 things. He's going to get a kapar for himself, for his family, and for all of Klal Yisrael. So let's take it one by one. Top of Memdaled, MDY, Yachal afilu ba'azara. When he's being makdik Torahs, perhaps no one could be with him, even in this area of the Azara, the whole Azara. What is the oil moed? We just 2 days ago packed up all our models and we're about to send them away. Baruch Hashem, I said, it's probably no oil moed. Here we are. This is the oil moed. It's beautiful. It's very, very detailed work. It's actually with all the wood, and he covered all the wood. I don't know how he did it. But anyway, this is the oil moed. The oil moed, as you probably could see it here, I don't know if you can. There's a gold strip right over here. You see it? It's very similar to this, where you have a third and 2/3. So you have a third up here. There's like the Kodesh HaKadoshim and 2/3. So, thank you. That's in the Torah. Where do we have this? This was like the Beis HaMikdash. This is the Mishkan, the Oil Moed, the Mishkan of the Midbar. That's where they had the wooden one. That's where the Torah says no one should come in there. Shilai. But this Mishkan, this was also in Shilai, in Eretz Yisrael. And the Beis Olamim, meaning the first and second Beis HaMikdash. Minayin. How do you know in the first and second Beis HaMikdash no one could go inside with the Kohen Gadol? Okay, so now we're learning the word Bakodesh. We took care of this word, the green word. Bakodesh. Any Kodesh, in other words, Shilai, Harabayis, Kodesh. Ainli Ela B'Shas HaKtara. We're talking about maybe he did the Ketores in the Kodesh HaKadoshim. Maybe we should lower this a little bit. Is it possible? You sure? We can't go a little, bring the whole thing down? I'm going to drive Gary Meshuggah today. We're going to be using it a lot. Maybe you sure can just hold it low. No, this is the one his wife is watching, so you got to be careful. No, that doesn't help. I didn't say the angle. I said lower. Oh, you're trying? Fine. So the Gemara says, remember, on Yom Kippur, there's how many Ketores? 3 Ketores. 2 of them are done in the Heichal. 1 of them is done in Kodesh HaKadoshim on top. So perhaps, in the Kodesh HaKadoshim, B'Shas Matan Dame Minayin. How do we know? Well, it's a little bit too short. I need this area too. How do I know? And the Gemara is going to say why I would think Ketores is different. But how do I know that when he's sprinkling the blood, you also can't be there? This is an extra word. Lechaper is extra. Lechaper means the blood. It should say bevoy bakodesh. Bevoy lechaper is not so important. Why do I? Lechaper, yes. When he's doing the blood, we also need to be away from him. Only he could be there. Okay, great. Yishmak, very good. Yeshua, the husband of the birthday. It says, if you look at the pasuk, I have good reason to believe that it's only when he comes in. It says bevai. When he walks into the Kodesh, you can't be there with him. But maybe when he walks out, you could be there. Says the Gemara, that's why it says Atzeisai. Both for now. Yeah, it's Kodesh. He's asking, I'll repeat his question, not to embarrass him. He wants to know if Kodesh is also this. This Kodesh Kadosh and this Kodesh. No, because from now on, if I don't answer 100%, I don't repeat the question, it's Shtusim. Now, look at the arichos here, the triple lashon. What is that? First, we need that he should have forgiveness. As we mentioned yesterday. Then his wife, his family has to have kapara because they're one once, and that's from the first vidui. Then comes the second vidui, and he talks about echav hakohanim, and that's all the way at the end of the pasuk called Kal Yisrael. The kapara zeh kehanim, koydem is the kapara Kal Yisrael. Okay, ubad beiso, ubad kol Kal Yisrael. Omar Mar. Ainli elo b'shas haktorah. Now we're just understanding what we said before. That I would have a havamina. There's a difference between the ketores that you have to be away from him and the blood. My mashma. How do you know that this pasuk is talking about ketores and not blood? Where did you get that from? Omar Rav v'chein Omar Rizkim b'avdim v'chein Omar v'lazar. Omar Kro v'chiper b'adoy v'ad beiso v'ad Klal Yisrael. There's one kapara for him, his wife, and all of Klal Yisrael. What is that one kapara? What else could it be? There's the seir. There's the par that's really for him and the kohanim, and then the goat is for Klal Yisrael. So that's already two separate kaparas. But what's a kapara that works for everybody? One kapara for everybody. That must be k'tayres. So memela, this pasuk seems like it's talking about k'tayres, and then because it says l'chaper, we add in also the blood. K'tayres mechaperes. K'tayres actually gives a kapara in, yes. The Torah v'chananya lamanu l'k'tayres mechaperes shenemar. Vayitin is k'tayres vayichaper ala The what? We're talking about, says Rashi, by Korach. After Korach died, by the way, I'm not chas v'shalom comparing, but another thing just occurred to me. There was a terrible tragedy in Italy. 5 Jews plummeted to death. Their cable car fell. Another time where you had Meron, Stalin, and the cable car. I have no idea what it means. I'm not trying to make any comparisons. I'm just saying, what? There's a 5-year-old kid that survived. But they're falling. Klal Yisrael is falling. To meet them. Right, they were running away from the missiles and yeah. So what happened I just remembered. I'm not comparing, I'm not saying anything. To me it was interesting, something to think about, that all 3 tragedies, they were falling. People were falling down. They were mamish consumed, like if you look at Meron and Karlin. All right, so Korach, they died, and Klal Yisrael had complaints against Moshe Rabbeinu. Oh, you killed all these, what was the lashon, the Kedoshei Am, the mamish, the holy people. So they got a megefa. So in order to stop the megefa, they used Torahs, and it says in the pasuk, "Vayiten es haktorahs veyichaper alam." That Torahs over there, not so, but we're going to learn from over there also that our Torahs in the Beis Hamikdash gives a kapar to Klal Yisrael. Betana de Bei Rabbi Shmuel. Alma Torahs mechaperes aloshen hara. Again, we lost Zoom. Just keep on going. Wow, it's a big one. Now this is very chashuv. So what, do we have to stop? I like cameras though. I want to be on camera. No camera, I should keep on going without a camera? There's no singing in these sugyas. Torah is mechaper for lashon hara. Why lashon hara? Yavai davar shebachashai, something that's done in secret, which is Torah. It's done in Kodesh HaKadoshim. Nobody knows what's going on over there. V'yichaper al ma'aseh chashai, and it'll come to forgive. What do you want me to do? Stop for a second? I'd rather stop. Huh? Chashai is in secret. Nobody help him. Solo. He has a great voice. He doesn't know the words though. Watch. It's the wrong song. Rabbi Isai, now Judah wants to sing us a song he just composed. It's about how Klal Yisrael overcame different issues here in Eretz Yisrael. The 6-day war, Yom Kippur war, the missiles, this. Okay, let's go, Judah. Let's hear. Well, now all of a sudden you're... I didn't ask you to sing Tanya. I asked you to sing... Yeah, that's right, but it's not on camera. It's not. It's worthless. It's worthless. Gary, back away. I'm going to start the share every day with a whole akdam on Gary. Every day. Those are the days we're not going to have any camera issues. Some people need negative attention.
My Yeshiva has a WhatsApp was that you singing at the Daf Yomi yesterday?
Not singing. I had to stop the song because of you.
You make me sing by myself.
Because you weren't singing the verses. You're making a macha. So I said, you were not singing. Then you made tshuva. You did tshuva, you were singing. Yeah, it was him. It was Spiegelman who was singing. What? No, I didn't know. On what? Really? Wow. Okay, here we go. So the Gemara tells us that Ketores comes to be mechaper on Lashon Hara. As Lashon Hara is something that you do in secrecy. You don't want the other person to know that you're the one speaking about him. And Ketores is done in secrecy. It's done in Kodesh Kodashim. Nobody could see, nobody could witness it. The question that the Taisis Yishanim asks is, we're talking about Dam and Ketores. Isn't Dam in the Kodesh Kodashim also done in secrecy?
It's also done outside.
No, that's not the answer.
Only done
I'm not repeating his answer. So,
I think it's a partial answer. Sorry.
says the Taisis Yishanim that when you do Ketores, Lefnai v'Lefnim, you say, Achas. Achas u'shnayim. That's him. Achas v'achas. Achas. Yeah, so Nachman says, Achas v'achas. When it's Choshev, I say it. Nachman Seltzer said, you say Achas v'achas after Achas. And then Achas v'shtayim, Achas v'shalish. So people hear outside, so it's not b'chashai. All right? Zok the Gemara. Not awesome. Porshin mibein ha'ulam b'lemizbeach b'shas ha'ktara. Listen to this. There's another area between this green, between this line of the Mizbeach and the Ulam, is called Bein Ulam and the Mizbeach. How wide is it? Does anybody remember? 22 amas. 22. From here to here, 22 amas. This area you must vacate. You must leave when they're doing whatever they're doing in here. Now we're going to see where. Is he performing the Ketores right over here, or is he performing the Ketores in the Kodesh HaKadoshim on top? When he's doing the Ketores, Omar Rebbe Lazar lo yishanu ela b'shas haKtorah de'echol. B'shas haKtorah de'lefnai v'lefnim mehechol parshi m'bein v'lefnei lo parshi. Comes Rebbe Lazar, and this is the Rebbe Lazar we're going to attack now. We don't like him so much. Chas v'shalom. We don't like what he's saying, and we're going to reconcile it. He's right. That what? Rebbe Lazar says you don't have to vacate 2 properties away. Only the adjacent property. So if you're over here, Ben Ulam Mizbeach, and you're performing an avoid in the Heichal, great, you got to go away. Move away, go into that Azaras. But if the Kohen Gadol is in the Kodesh HaKadoshim, which is 2 Reshuyas away, you have the Heichal in between, and then that, you don't have to move away. What's the whole point? The point is, because I'm concerned, you might walk yourself in. You're standing over here between the Ulam and the Mizbeach, and this Ketores is going on over here, you might all of a sudden walk your way in here by mistake. It's a Gzeira. So I need to protect you. I say get away from this area. But if he's 2 Reshuyas away, a person is not going to walk into the Eichel and then into the Kodesh HaKadoshim. That we're not concerned about. Maser Rav Adarbahav of Amr Lokadi. He listened to this kasha. It's a beautiful kasha. One of a kind in Masechtas Yoma. You have to hold cup over here. Maser Rav Adarbahav of Amr Lokadi. Some people say it's anonymous. Just like you have to move, you can't be there between the ulam and the mizbeach, that area between the mizbeach and the ulam. Again, so maybe I didn't explain. Ulam is this long guy right over here. This is the heichal kodesh kedoshim. You have kodesh kedoshim, heichal, ulam. And this is ben ulam between this area over here to the mizbeach. Okay. So just like you can't be there during the Torah, which is Torah for now. We're going to say Torah in Kodesh HaKadoshim. Kach parshim b'shas matan par koy Mashiach u'bar helam davar shel tzibur u'sir avos kechav. Okay. There are 3 korbanos that you bring, not on Yom Kippur, nothing to do with Yom Kippur. You bring, if there's a mistake, Sanhedrin paskin, you could do an Aveira, or they paskin, you could do Avodah Zarah, the Kohen Gadol himself paskin, you could do something. You bring these korbanos. You sprinkle the blood where? In the heichal. This is all in the heichal. Nothing, not in Kodesh HaKadoshim Chas v'Shalom, because Kodesh HaKadoshim is reserved for Yom Kippur. We're not talking about Yom Kippur. So, says Rabbi Yossi, just like you have to walk away, you can't be over here in this area by the Ketores and Kodesh HaKadoshim. So too, you can't be there when you bring in this rare case that you're bringing a special carbon, parallel Devora. You have to move away. They take the blood from these korbanos, they sprinkle it on this. I don't know if you can see, there's a red line here. It's the paroiches, the curtain. That's where they sprinkle the blood. Fine. Says the Gemara, Homa Maila, he continues. Ma Maila yesh ben hechel ben ulam mizbeach. What is the difference? Where do we find the difference between inside the heichal and right outside between the mizbeach and the ulam? Is there any difference halachically? Sometimes you have to move away from it, sometimes not. Ella, yes. Shebeheichal parshim bein b'shas haktara ubein sheloi b'shas haktara. When it comes to the heichal, I can't be there whether he's doing the haktara. Haktara is what? Ktaris. Sheloi b'shas haktara. What does sheloi b'shas haktara mean? Says Rashi, the dam. Loi b'shas haktara. It doesn't mean he's just standing idle. He's not doing taris. He's doing zero. It means he's not doing taris. He's doing dam. You hear? Big chiddush. So you have to remember that. That's important for the answer of the Gemara. Sheloi b'shas haktara equals zrikas dam. So again, dam. Daf Dalet. Homa ma'ila yesh ben heichol ben ulam mizbeach el shebeheichol parshim ben b'shas haktara ben shelisim haktara. If he's performing zrikas hadam, you have to get out of there. Not only ktaras. Ubein ulam mizbeach and parshim ela b'shas haktara. But now we understand what's the haktara. Shalom aleichem. What's the haktara in Kodesh HaKadoshim? So you understand the question? Here, we're getting at this. What does Rebbe Elazar say? He says a very simple thing. If I am in Kodesh HaKadoshim, I don't have to remove myself from the Bein Olam Lemizbeach because that's 2 properties away. That's 2 Rishuyas away. Now we're saying, no, you do have to remove yourself. It's a big kasha Rebbe Elazar. He's saying that if I'm in the Kodesh HaKadoshim, I have to move away from the Bein Olam Lemizbeach. Bein Olam Lemizbeach in person B'shas haktara. B'shas haktara, let's see it inside B'shas haktara, mir parshi. But if he's performing the k'tairis where? It doesn't say where. So we're going to, in order to ask a good kasha, we're going to assume that the k'tairis that we're talking about is the k'tairis in the Kodesh HaKadoshim. Ma'ila b'shas haktara d'lefnai b'lefnim in Kodesh HaKadoshim. And memela what? It's a bam kasha on Rebbe Elazar who says that when you're performing the k'tairis d'lefnai b'lefnim, it's so far away, you're allowed to stand between the ulam and the mizbeach. But it just said that what is the difference between the ulam and the mizbeach, the ulam mizbeach and the heichal, is that when you perform the k'tairis, you got to move away from the ulam mizbeach. Says the Gemara, and says the Gemara, b'shas haktara the heichal. The obvious answer is going to be no. You jumped. You assume that we're talking about k'tairis and Kodesh HaKadoshim. No, I'm talking about the k'tairis in the heichal. And that's why you have to move away from this area. You have to move away from this area because it's right next to where he's performing the k'tairis. It's only 1 property away. Shkoyach. You think I didn't think about that answer? Of course I anticipated that answer. So what's my problem? Why didn't I think about it? So then now it comes out like this. You just told me that when it comes to k'tairis, you have to be over here in order to move people away from over here. You have to be right next to them. It's the k'tairis in the heichal. So what's the nafkamina? The nafkamina according to Rabbi Yossi would be l'chayra that he's sprinkling the blood in the Kodesh HaKadoshim. That's where the nafkamina is. In the sprinkle of the blood. Sprinkle of the blood, then I only have to move away from the heichal, but not away from the... Because the sprinkle of the blood in the Kodesh HaKadoshim is 2 properties away from this area of the between the ulam and the mizbeach, and that's why sprinkle of the blood, I would have a nafkamina. The nafkamina would be in the sprinkle of the blood. In the k'tairis not, but in the blood, yes. Ihachi hama ma'ila v'sulai? What are you telling me? That there's only one difference in the blood? Ha'ika ha'ma'ila, but there's another difference. Dilu mehechel parshi. From the hechel, I have to move myself. Bein b'shas aktar di day. Whether I'm doing the k'taris in the hechel. I know. It's one of those confusing sugis. We're almost done with it. You can wake up and if you're not following, 3 minutes, we'll be done. Ihachi hama ma'ila v'sulai. There's another ma'ila. Ha'ika ha'ma'ila. Dilu mehechel parshi. Bein b'shas aktar di day. What's aktar di day? The Torah in the Heichal bein b'shas aktar d'lifnai v'lifnim, v'ilu mebeinu ulam v'lemizbeach le'parshi ela b'shas aktar the Heichal. So there's another nafkamin here that from the Heichal I have to move whether the Torah is over here or whether the Torah is over here, right? From this area I have to run away, even if the Torah is over here. But from this area, right over here, I only have to move away from it when the K'taris is in the Heichal. But you just said, according to Rabbi Lazar, when the K'taris, what's the nafkamin? I'm asking you, what's the nafkamin between this area, right over here, this area? You know the nafkamin? Very simple. If I do the K'taris in the Heichal, gotta move. And if I do the K'taris in the Kodesh HaKodashim, I don't have to move. Do you see a nafkamin between this area and the Heichal? Big nafkamina. Because if I do the K'taris in the Kodesh HaKodashim, I have to move away from the Heichal, but I do not have to move away from this area, from the Bein Ulam Mizbeach. So why is that not mentioned? According to you, the only difference is in the blood. Says the Gemara Haktani. That's exactly what I just said. That is the nafkamina. So just Balper, very, very simple actually. Until now we said that Shaloi B'Shas Aktara equals Daf Mem Daled, Dam. And now we're switching. That's not what Shaloi B'Shas Aktara means. It makes a lot of sense, yes. Haktar means doing K'taris, and Shaloi B'Shas Haktar means not in the time of K'taris, means, but in the time of blood. Now we're going to say, no, that's not the Pshat in Shaloi B'Shas Haktar. Shaloi B'Shas Haktar means it's an area. We're talking about a place. Shas Haktar means in the Heichal. Shaloi B'Shas Haktar means in the Kodesh HaKodashim. In other words, this is exactly like Rebbe Lazar. You asked me a question that this proves not like Rebbe Lazar. What does Rebbe Lazar say? Rebbe Lazar says I only have to move away from one rishus. But if the Kohen Gadol is performing 2 rishus away from me and I'm standing in this area, I don't have to move away. This is a beautiful raya. That's exactly what the Bris says. Haktani. That's exactly what it says. What does haktara mean now? Not k'toris. The Heichal, B'Shas HaKtorah is referring to a type of place. Ubein Shaloi B'Shas HaKtorah, and even in Kodesh HaKodashim. If I'm standing in the Heichal, I have to get out of here for 2 reasons. In 2 cases. Either he's performing a K'toris in here, I got to book out of here, or he's performing K'toris in Kodesh HaKodashim. I also have to leave. Why? Because I'm adjacent to him. But if I am standing over here, which is 2 properties away from Kodesh HaKodashim, 1 property away from the Heichal. So then I only have to move away from here if he's in the Heichal. But I don't have to move away if he's in the Kodesh HaKodashim. And that's what it says. And that's a beautiful right to Rebbe Lazar. That's exactly what Rebbe Lazar says. You brought this Bris to ask a question of Rebbe Lazar. It turns out it's a right to Rebbe Lazar. The what? Ela shebeheichal parshim bein b'shas haktorah bein shaloi b'shas haktorah. When you're in the Heichal, you have to move away. What's Shas haktorah? Kodesh HaKodashim and Heichal. You have to move away from the Heichal regardless. But the other property called Bein Ulam Mizbeach Ein Parshin, and now we're turning to Daf Mem Daled Amud Beis. Ela b'Shas Haktara. Only when you're in the Heichal do you have to move away from this area. But if the Kohen is performing the one time in the year that you do K'taris in the Kodesh HaKodashim, and somebody's standing between the Ulam and the Mizbeach, he doesn't have to move. Why? It's 2 properties away. You don't have to move. Ask the Gemara. So now, what is the nafkamina? What did we just say? What's the nafkamina between the ulam, this area, between the ulam and mizbeach? K'tairis. K'tairis and Yom Kippur. Do I have to move away from the ulam and mizbeach or not? Well, there's another nafkamina. You forgot about another thing. Blood. There's also blood on Yom Kippur. If there's blood in the Kodesh HaKodashim and I'm standing in the Heichal, I have to go. But if I'm standing in Bein Ulam and Mizbeach, I don't have to go. 2 properties away for blood. Just like you said, there's 2 properties. Why didn't you say that? The answer is because they're identical. It's the same thing. I don't have to repeat myself. It's the same idea. What? Yeah. There's blood in Kodesh Kodashim. Yeah. No, there's between the Aron, he stands between the badim, he sprinkles towards the Aron. Says the Gemara, okay, he sponsored the covered a Shidduch for Esther Devora bas Gittel and Devora bas Suri, the nishmas the Meron victims, Refuah shelaima for the Meron victims. The MDY Chabura is truly one big family, thanks to Yehoshua Ehrenpreis. Oh, and Yosef says, don't forget to get your art scrolls in 2 days. Yeshua said. Almost done with the art scroll. So if you got a free art scroll from MDY, not from MDY, from Yossi Klein and those guys, you might have to buy, this guy, somebody just said that he bought a shas already. Maybe that's a new email, I didn't read that. Okay. I told art scroll. I told him to tell art. I didn't say. I told Nisan Gans. You should. Not Barabim. But I'm saying I think we helped them out because 650 people were introduced to Masechtas Yoma through art scroll. And that caused a lot of people to buy shasim or gemaras. You know, they should just give us these gemaras for free. Says the Gemara. That's what you should tell them. Tell them, yeah. You can speak to the rabbis level. Ask the Gemara, but there's another difference. We're almost done. Seriously. When it comes to the Heichel, if you're standing in the Heichel and the Kohen Gadol is sprinkling blood over here, you see the Aron right here, sprinkling blood towards not on the Aron, but towards, he's standing between the two poles, you have to move. You have to get out of here, out of the Heichel. But to move away from this area, you don't have to unless he's sprinkling blood in the Heichel. There's also sprinkling blood in the Heichel, on the Mizbeach Hazav. Right? We had the Mizbeach Hazav, sprinkle blood. He moves away the coals, puts on top. Remember? That's another nafkamina. Says the Gemara, it's the same. What's the difference? Tires, blood. The point is that if I'm performing an avodah, if it's in Kodesh Kodashim, I only have to move away from the Eichel, not from the between Ulam and Mizbeach. And if I'm performing in the Eichel, I have to move away from the Ulam and Mizbeach. Brand new sugi, Rabbi Sai. Brand new sugi. Everybody can wake up, strengthen. Naftali, how was it? Omar. Okay, so we had those 3 korbanos. Minalan, how do you know that you have to leave the Heichal when? Listen to this. They're bringing a korban on Chanukah in the middle of Tevis because Klal Yisrael by mistake did Avodah Zarah. You can't be there in there. The idea of can't be with the Kohen Gadol is said where? Yom Kippur. What does it have to do with the middle of Tevis on Chanukah? How do you know it? You have to leave. Okay. It says kapara by these different korbanos and kapara by Yom Kippur. You cannot be there when they're performing the avodah on those korbanos. Okay. Malos deraisa. Very simple. Look at this. We have so many different areas of kedusha. And each one builds up a level of kedusha for different things. And they get to different things where people could stand. Tmeim, Tahirim, Yisraelim, women. Here. You have Harabais, this yellow. Then you have this pink. It goes up into kedusha. It's the chayil. Then it goes up into kedusha down here. As it's nashim. Then it goes to this 11 amma area right over here. It goes up in kedusha. It's the Ezras Yisrael. Then there's this Kohanim, the Azara, Ben Ulam Lemizbech, we just discussed. This is a whole special area. Then you go in here, Ulam, Heichal, Kodesh Kodashim. Each one is a step above another. How do I know these Kedushas? Vachi Gemirlu. This is Allah Moshe Sinai. This is not something I made up. Moshe Rabbeinu brought it down from Sinai. These are good of the Rabbanon, because if you'll say that these are Rabbanon or geyser, you shouldn't stand here, you shouldn't stand there, you might jump in here, you might walk this way, we have to be careful with you. Why is it that you're not allowed to stand right over here in this area? Because you might walk in, you might daydream and start walking, following the Kohen Gadol in here. Who told you there's a difference between this area and the entire Azara? Who made this line, this invisible line here? Says the Gemara, where am I? Oh, Mikra Vayla. Beno Mizbeach, Kivin Lo Mafsik Imidi. Lo Mikra Milso Azar, Kivin Dikim Mizbeach Achitz. And the Mafsik Mikra, I skipped. Go back. This is the Rabban Ma'ishna Beno Mizbeach, Dilma Mikra Vayli. Mikul Azar, Nami Nifreshu, Dimmer Mikra Vayli. What's the difference if I'm standing over here or standing over here with these, where you shech the animals? I might just walk my way right in here. Nobody's stopping me. Says Gemara, Beno Mizbeach, Kivin Lo Mafsik Imidi, Lo Mikra Milso. There's no visualization. There's nothing showing you to stop. Azara kivin dikim mizbeach achitzon. The mafsik minker mil. So look at this. This mizbeach that takes up so much room. It draws an invisible line. You see, this green box continues with the mizbeach. That's your hint. Don't go past this line. But if you're standing over here, I have to be machmer on you. Right. No. So, right. So I'm saying your raya that it's doiraisa is not true, because over here we have a good demarcation and not over here. Azar given the from here, perhaps you could say that these two have the same kedusha. The ulam, this area right over here, and the heichal, one kedusha. Why? These are because if you'll say that it's two, ulam gufei gzeira. Where's he performing the avodah? In the heichal. So why can't I go into the ulam? Because you might walk your way in here. So why can't I stand over here? Why can't I stand there? Because I might walk into the ulam, and if I walk into the ulam, I might walk into the heichal. That's 2 steps removed. Guf gzeira v'nekim v'nikus gzeira l'gzeira. Loi. Ulam uveinu ulam v'lemizbeach chad kedusha. The opposite. The ulam ubeinu ulam v'lemizbeach chad kedusha. Heichal v'ulam shtei kedushais. This is all one. This area is considered one. So that's one gzeira. Don't stand here. And the problem is to go from here into here. Not that these two are one. This and this is not one. It stops over here. From here down is one kedusha. Yeah. Tell you is so what? Telling is telling. Walking in and spacing out is a different thing. B'chol yoim. Yeah, no, this is called kodesh, but it doesn't stop a person. You need a physical barrier. You need something to show you. You're saying the doors.
No, I'm saying that how would you think that the ulam is the same as the kodesh?
Oh, how do you think it? I don't know if anybody in this room thought that it's different. Look, it's the same building. Same building. It's within the same mechitzas. You walk in. It's the hallway to go into the dining room. Why would I even think that? I would think it's the same. If you asked me yesterday, I would say it's the same. Like Rava. Listen, think about it. It's a building and an outdoor space, one kedusha. That's a lot more interesting than saying that the outer space is one kedusha and everything within the building is another kedusha. It's called, yeah. I hear. But that's at least the zahavim, you know. My time. Okay, back to that gata. Why every day they were using the silver, but on Yom Kippur they used a gold shovel. So it's not appropriate to use gold during the year, because obviously when you're using gold with coals and heat, it's going to diminish and you're going to constantly have to replace it, and it costs a lot of money. But on Yom Kippur, because we wanted to make it lighter and it's Yom Kippur, so we did it in gold. It's once a year. My time. We didn't want to use 2 shovels. You could use the silver shovel and pour it into the gold shovel. No, that's extra work. That's him picking it up, lifting, and he's fasting, and he's doing all this work. So we want to be concerned with the Kohen Gadol. Every day of the year, they used a large shovel of 4 kav, and they would pour the 4 kav into the 3 kav shovel, which means now it's nice and full, which would mean that 1 kav fell on the floor. Tana, kav gecholim. By the way, This is the most hazardous job in the world. The Kohen Gadol is walking barefoot, or the Kohen walking barefoot, and they're pouring boiling hot coals, not some coals. The coals they got from the center, remember? Falling all over his feet. He's pouring it, and then he has to walk. I don't know how they did it. Sweep it right into the Amma. The kasha that I saw here, how could you sweep it into the Amma? The Rishonim talk about it. The coals were in a shovel. The shovel is a klisharis. It just made it kaddish. Now it falls on the floor. You just sweep it into the sewer. It's kaddish kaddish. It's kaddish. So you say, from here you see that the silver one, it doesn't make it kaddish kaddish. It's only the gold one. Tani chada kav, this is Rishonim talking about it. Tani chada kav, how much falls on the floor? 1 kav. V'tani yidach kabayim, 2 kav fall to the floor. Bishleim achla tani kav, the rabbanon. It makes a lot of sense. You start off with 4, you're going into a shovel of 3, so 1 falls on the floor. But how do you get to 2 kav on the floor? Mani. Loy rabbanon. Rabbanon say you start off with 4, you go to 3, so you're only left with 1. V'loy Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Yossi says you start off with 6. You pour 6 into 3. How much are you going to have on the floor? 3. So where do you get the number 2 from? It goes according to Rabbi Yochanan. Then what? The shovel that you're pouring the 4 into what? It's not into 3, it's into 2. So if you're pouring 4 into 2, you have 2 on the ground. Rav Ashi Omar, that's a little bit of a tchak. I have a better pshat. I feel that Rabbi Yossi. We're talking about a shovel of 5, not of 6. Rabbi Yossi calls it 6 because later on they added a shtus, a 6th milabar milagav. If you have 5 and you add 1 piece, you make it 6. So that 1 piece is a 5th, or it's a 6th, depending on if you're looking at the total or you're looking at where you started from. But the bottom line is we're talking about a shovel of 5, and you pour it from the 5 into the 3. And you have 2 on the ground. Let's just do this because we had a big break in the middle. The sides were very thick, like a real shovel. Today on Yom Kippur, it's thin, so it's lighter. For the chulsh of the Kohen Gadol. So again, going back to this is not a shovel, this is a kaf, but you want to be able to put it under here and carry a lot of the weight with your elbow. Tana, so what's a niyashtik? On Yom Kippur they had this, I added this feature to the stick. So when the Kohen Gadol walks, it makes noise, according to Rashi. According to Tosfos, very interesting. Think about it. This is made out of metal. What happens if you put boiling hot coals in a piece of metal? It's going to hurt your hand a lot. Especially if it's there for 2 hours, he puts it in the kosher, goes and walks away. Niyashtik is a piece of leather that covers this, so you could get. But it's a chatzitza. I'm not holding on to the handle. I'm holding on to a piece of leather. It says Tosfos beautifully. You put a nail right through the leather into the handle, so it becomes 1. And a third pshat is, according to the Ritva, a niyashtik is a cover that covers the whole shovel, so that the coals remain hot, because it's out there for a pretty long time until he gets to where he needs to get to the Kodesh Kodashim. So it's a cover. So niyashtik is either the circle on top, like Rashi, this guy, or a leather covering, or a cover. Have a wonderful day. Adonai Shema B'Kuli. Hello, anybody hear me? I can't hear you.
We heard everywhere.
We hear you.
Wow, embarrassing.
This meeting is still being recorded.
What?
Did you shoot the special today?
Everything you say will be repeated.
Shlomi, I'm not lying. Not lying. I woke up this morning. I'm like, did Shlomi leave the shir? Like, I haven't seen him in a week. What is going on here?
He's been
See, Bryce,
protecting
I
it
should
down
have
high.
made- I should have said that I praised the Vilna Gaon or something. I should what did I do already?
Willie the Goon.
Didn't we discuss? I sent you a letter. You read it. We had a conversation.
Yes, you wrote. I was medayik every word. Trust me.
Hey, like a guy.
Yeah.
I'm not messing with him.
Play me the
I don't know
lights.
if you're gonna get me
can
to
go.
write that letter with the word the like a shot or something. But I don't think that's gonna happen. But
He's green with envy.
I love Ali.
I
Yo,
waited for
did you
somebody to say
understand the
that.
next year?
Yeah, I know Will the wedding is.
You know what?
I know Will the wedding is.
Where the wedding is? Y'all, I don't know where the wedding is. How do you know where the wedding is?
You told it on the Delta. In new a favorite hotel.
Baruch Hashem, they're sending him to the wrong place. Okay, whatever.
Okay.
Oh,
It's not in a hotel, y'all.
Yo, it's
no,
it's
a new a hotel.
yo, it's gonna be in Mishawaka, Indiana. Go find it.
It says it in Illinois.
On hole
Miramar
10,
Country Club.
It's on my ranch in Mishawaka, Indiana.
middle of the golf course. On hole
Exotic
10.
wedding. We're getting new Ellie.
You have a ranch?
I don't know the name of the place. I have no idea.
It's a
My wife is
cornfield.
with all this.
Okay,
big
so
day.
you just shut that's the main thing.
Obama Library. That's fine.
What?
As long as it's not going to be at the Obama Library.
Where is that?
Obama Library is in Chicago?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
You didn't hear the whole controversy there. He wants to take a
At least there won't be anybody else there.
He wants to do what?
It's being fought. It's being
major
fought.
controversy there. He wants to take away parkland from that the other
Behind the Museum of Science. Behind the
You
Museum of
should buy
Science
my
and History.
property, Taka. It's a great idea. You should buy my property in the south side.
big
Yeah.
controversy if there should be police to secure the place or not.
18 acres. We just put up 18 acres for sale in the middle of Chicago.
Where?
Tell
How
him
much-
the
the
truth.
Kool-Aid factory.
No,
How
much
did it go for?
headquarters. MDY
What?
headquarters in
How
the
much did it go for?
Everywhere I have it used to be the Kool-Aid factory.
Kool-Aid factory. That's what I just said.
Yeah, I think we all shouted it out.
1 second, the Hasidim are busting out of the places here in Borough Park.
Oh,
Dinner.
now I understand Dr. Listhouse. He keeps on saying one thing away from one Kool-Aid away from a cult.
Uh-oh.
Referring to the
Now that
famous
you
cult.
get it, that means we're really in trouble.
But now it all
Have a
makes
wonderful day,
everybody.
coming full circle.
Hey, Ellie,
Yeah.
Circle back to it.
what time is it?
Uh-huh.
Oh,
You're 5 minutes early,
Ellie
Ellie.
Trapper's
You're 5
Too
minutes
early. It's too early.
Proud for you.
Ellie Trapper, very proud of you.
He's electioneering.
Look at you. Look at you. Oh, that's right, because it's an election year. Exactly.
Ooh.
He wants to be elected. Shlomi, you heard about this? He wants to be elected as president of MDY. If Yoel is CEO, he wants to be president. I said the president has to be elected, and he's not doing his job. He's forgetting to remind me to go to Shachar. So now he's doing tshuva.
And
But
now
Ellie's
he's
not
being
sincere.
now he's being
You have to be
czars.
elected. You see, you're like a real.
Ellie, I'll tell you the real reason why I'm doing this.
Yeah. What's the real? By the way, I'm voting for you 100%. I'm voting for you. You got my vote.
Now,
And I'm
I'll
gonna
tell you.
back you when you campaign. I'm gonna speak. I'm gonna speak in your campaigns.
Good. Now, I'll tell you why I'm doing this.
Yeah, it's for you're an honor, right? You said covet is for Hashem.
Right.
That's what you told me
what I
yesterday.
said. Yes.
So why are you doing this if not for covet? Yoel Bergman, I think, does it for covet. I think. I don't know. I don't know him that well.
It's because a president is higher than a CEO.
So, but it's not covet woman. It's not
boy.
covet. This is.
I
Not,
heard
this is
shots fired.
Heard around the world.
And maybe in politics. but
Ain't
not
that
in
Chicago?
America.
Oh, listen, look at the Prime Minister and President of Israel.
Mark, I think we have to ask Uncle Phil.
Kool-Aid factory.
According to Biden, they're one and the same, so it doesn't matter.
Eli Trapper, how many people did you bring to the shir? It goes by how many people you brought to the shir. You can't just go for president.
Nobody
What credentials do you
Then
have?
Yeshua is president.
Eli Trapper has a lot of relatives.
Nobody yet, but I'm still trying to get into my.
Nobody yet,
Devora.
Eli. Nobody yet. And you want to be president of MDY?
I'm still working on my two brother-in-laws in Chicago.
He needs
I know, but you have to have something under your belt. You have to go to war. You have to be.
Eli. He needs
soldier
the
or something.
title.
I-
He needs the
I
title to
said
give him
president, I didn't
credence.
say king.
He needs the title to have credence to convince
Now,
people.
now you want
you.
now you want to be king,
Obama,
Eli?
you like Obama. You like
He wants a
nothing.
business card. He wants a
You do
business
something
card. He
to
can say,
Obama,
"I'm
you can be
president."
King.
Uh,
All right.
Talking about recruiting, I had an interesting
By the
mice
way,
the other
Rebelli,
day.
Rebelli,
Yeah.
Rebelli.
any update on your uncle, Rabbi Spitsky?
I'm listening. What happened?
How is he?
Rabbi Stavitsky. He said he's in the hospital. I got a message from Torah Das yesterday.
Oh, the
I mean-
Rosh of Torah is in the hospital?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What happened?
I don't know. He said-
Shalitsky, Eli didn't visit his father for almost 2 years. You think he knows what's going on with his mother's brother?
Still, still being his father. He's a man.
Hell,
Yeah.
What, the Refuah of Torah is your,
it's
your
time
mother's
for
brother?
Volozhin.
No, my mother's brother.
Or your mother's brother's Refuah of Torah?
Well, that's what
Savitsky,
Shlomi
yeah.
Klein just said, no?
Rebelli, I have a Shiloh.
Yeah.
I had an interesting thing. Everyone's talking about how you're supposed to bring people to the share. So I mamash had an incident. It was like if the Hatzalah call, I saw this guy telling, I was asking what's going on. Then I decided to promote these guys. I'm giving out business cards. And I'm giving out business cards, and the guy goes, one of the main guys says, I give a share also. I'm like, oh, great. Many people listen to the share. Also give shiurim. So why don't you join us? And the next thing I know, I go, all right, time to wake up for Shachris. I'm like, wow, I almost had my first promotion, first bring. I'm like, wanna know, is that a Meister Shahaya or Kumat Hoya?
Hell,
Listen, you dream about promoting the shit. It's an amazing thing. Listen, some people dream about donuts. You dream about kosher zach.
Well, he doesn't have to dream. He went to the cookie corner. He doesn't have to.
He had the dream
I was
at
like,
cookie
"Stop.
corner.
My wife waking me up, time to go daven. You're gonna miss Minion.
yeah.
I gotta go. I gotta go daven. It's
Kinderlach.
not a dream. This is the real deal. I heard the moment by Baruch. All right, guys.
Yeah.
Have a
Have a
great
wonderful
day.
day,
Have a
Rebelli.
great day.
Have a good
Take
day.
care,
Have a good day.
President. The President of MDY. Have a great day.
President-elect.
Thank you.
Yeah,
President-elect.
President-elect.
See you tomorrow.
Bye.